Learn Medicine Dulcamara from Keynotes by Dr. H.C. Allen. होम्योपैथी अपनाएं, बीमारियों से छुटकारा पाएं. Hello, welcome to my channel on homeopathy. If you are not subscribed, subscribe to the channel now. The purpose of knowledge shared here is only educational and to increase awareness. Please always consult your doctor before taking any medicine. Self-treatment may always be injurious. Today, you will learn a few important symptoms of the medicine Dulcamara, which may be very helpful in our daily life. So please crush the like and share this video. Now let us go to the video. Medicine Dulcamara in Keynotes by Dr. H.C. Allen. Dulcamara is made from the bittersweet family Solanaceae. Dulcamara is adapted to persons of phlegmatic, scrofulous constitutions, restless, irritable. We find in Dulcamara a pronounced adaptability to conditions arising from exposure to cold, wet weather. Dulcamara is useful in the bad effects of getting wet and cold. Dulcamara is of value in headache, catarrhal or rheumatic caused by or worse during cold, wet weather, with heaviness of the head and mental confusion and nausea, all worse from walking or motion. Dulcamara is useful in nasal catarrh with an increased secretion and free discharge of mucus in cold, wet weather. Dulcamara is useful in facial neuralgia brought on by change of weather to damp or from being out in the wet or worse from the slightest exposure to cold. Dulcamara is useful in catarrhal rheumatism or skin affections brought on or aggravated by exposure to cold, damp, rainy weather or sudden changes in hot weather like bryonia. Dulcamara is useful in increased secretions of mucous membranes, perspiration being suppressed from cold. Dulcamara is useful in complaints of patients living or working in a damp, cold basement or a milk dairy like arania, arsenic, natrum sulfur. Dulcamara is useful in amenorrhea resulting from exposure to cold or dampness or in sudden suppression of menstruation from exposure to damp, cold weather or air. Dulcamara is useful in mental confusion, cannot find the right word for anything. Dulcamara is useful when skin is delicate, sensitive to cold, liable to eruptions, especially urticaria, every time the patient catches a cold or is long exposed to cold. Dulcamara is useful in anasarca after ague, rheumatism, scarlet fever. Dulcamara is useful in dropsy after suppressed sweat, suppressed eruptions, exposure to cold. Dulcamara is useful in diarrhea from taking cold in damp places or during damp, foggy weather, change from warm to cold weather like bryonia. Dulcamara is useful in catarrhal scoria in grown-up children with milky urine, scoria from wading with bare feet in cold water, involuntary urination. Dulcamara is useful in rash before the menses like conium, in belladonna and graphitis. There is a rash during profuse menses. Dulcamara is useful in urticaria over the whole body, no fever, itching, burns after scratching, aggravation in warmth, amelioration in cold. Dulcamara is useful when there are thick brown-yellow crusts on scalp, face, forehead, temples, chin with reddish borders, bleeding when scratched. On the scalp, Dulcamara is useful in eczema with thick brown crusts which bleed when scratched and with aggravation of the condition during cold wet weather and amelioration in summer. Dulcamara is useful for eczema with intense itching and watery discharge and for colic and diarrhea that followed the suppression of an eruption in cold weather. Dulcamara is useful in earache with redness of the drum and caused by getting the feet wet by exposure to cold rain or during damp, cold, foggy weather. Dulcamara is useful in toothache from getting wet with painful salivation and especially when associated with diarrhea. Dulcamara is useful in bronchial catarrh of old people, cough usually with free expectoration and worse from or during cold wet weather or from change of weather to cold and wet. Dulcamara is useful in warts, fleshy, large, smooth, warts on the face or back of hands and fingers like thuja. Dulcamara is useful in nursing women for suppression of milk from taking cold. Dulcamara is useful in lumbago or in stiffness and lameness across the back and shoulders associated with fever due to catching cold or getting wet. Relations: Dulcamara is complementary to baryta carb, kali sulf. Dulcamara is incompatible with acetic acid, belladonna, lachesis, should not be used before or after. Dulcamara follows well after calcarea, bryonia, lyco, rustox, sepia. Dulcamara is similar to mercury in tilism, glandular swellings, bronchitis, diarrhea, susceptibility to weather changes, night pains. Dulcamara is similar to kali sulf, the chemical analog. Dulcamara is useful for the bad effects or abuse of mercury. Dulcamara is useful for ulceration of the mouth, even gangrene, with great swelling of the mucous membrane and profuse flow of saliva of putrid odor. Aggravation: in Dulcamara there is aggravation from cold in general, cold air, cold wet weather. In Dulcamara there is aggravation from suppressed menstruation, eruptions, sweat. Amelioration: in Dulcamara there is amelioration from moving about like ferrum, rustox. Dear friends, your support means a lot to me, and I would like to ask you to like and share the video and subscribe to my channel. It is completely free. Visit this homeopathic channel for more information about homeopathic remedy identification and for information on how you can confidently master the skill of prescribing if you are a medical student. Dose: Dulcamara 6, 12 and 30 potency 1 to 5 drops in 10 ml water on empty stomach or as advised by your doctor. A hug, stay with God, and until the next video, bye. Wishing you a happy and healthy life. Thank you.